Hey guys, so I just got this message. I've been getting this message kind of over the last few days, and I just want to share it for anybody who is going through that. So a lot of people are at the end of cycles right now. You might be seeing a lot of endings and messages and like signs of it ending. Don't freak out. It's nothing bad, okay? So I know a lot of times like we don't understand, so we think like, oh, the thing we want that we desire is what's going to end or going to leave because we've had that experience in the past. But a lot of what's going on is you're getting closure to things that are currently going on or to the past. But most of you, it's not really stuff going on right now. It's your attachment energy to something. So what I mean by that is like if it's, an ex, if it's a parent, if it's an old friend, if it's even like a job or something like that. If you sit in the energy, you realize it's not about that. We're going to say person because it's easier and most people it has to do with a person, some person. If you sit in the energy, you realize it has nothing to do with that person. You probably don't even care about that person. You probably don't even like that person. That person probably actually disgusts you or you're like, ew, right? But there's still something that's like making you think about that person or having emotions or shit like that. So a lot of what's coming up, and some of it is stuff from the past or more recent. It's both. It could be more than one person. I think for most people, it's more than one person. If you look, you'll see the pattern of it, and there's an underlying trauma that has not been healed. There's an underlying, an emotional attachment core that has not been healed. So basically what's going on is all of these things are being triggered right now to help you to pull all the energy up, to help you to see things in a different way. And the one trauma that you have, the specific deep ass trauma that you have, all of the perceptions or beliefs about yourself shaped around that is what's healing, which is why it's taking a while to heal. And the reason you keep feeling that energy toward that person or those people is because they are most likely at the core of that or have a really core piece of that trauma that's unhealed. So a lot of people within the next week or so are going to continue to get clarity. The illusions are continuing to be lifted like we've been talking about. And you're going to continue to get clarity, which is going to help you close that. So if you're like, I want to shut the door on this, but I don't know why, like something's kind of holding me back or I can't, you're going to get the clarity you need. And once you do, you're going to be done. Like you won't even have to question it. It's going to be completely done. You're never going to want even to deal with this person or even think about this person, probably even talk about this person. You're going to be like, ew, I'm so fucking done, because you're going to see it. So kind of an example of this, right, is that feeling of not feeling good enough or feeling like there's something wrong with you a lot of times is a core wound. And then mother, father, possibly both, makes you feel that way based on things they do. Like they give your siblings more attention. They devalue things that are important to you. They don't allow you to share your emotions or your feelings. And then what happens from that? You'll either try to constantly pay attention to their emotions and feelings to try to prove your love, or you try to prove you're good enough by excelling at other things, or you try to be like overly sympathetic to other people and forget about your own needs, or whatever it is to everybody, because it's all going to be different. And sometimes it's all of those things, right? Then you go into another relationship where that core wound is triggered. So what the person will do, a lot of people were dealing with like narcissistic manipulative relationships, which I've been talking about for months, and I'm still going to do the podcast on it. We're just still getting all the information for it, right? So at the center, they know what your trauma is. They can feel that shit. They can feel what your need is. They give it to you. They give it to you in the beginning. They gaslight you. They give you whatever that unmet need was from your childhood. They give you that temporarily. But it doesn't heal because it's yours to heal. And so then what they do is they'll do everything that conflicts with that. And then you start going back to people pleasing, trying to chase, trying to get approval, trying to get love, trying to whatever it is. But at the core, you're also sitting there, and what are you doing to yourself? You're like telling yourself, I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not worthy of being chosen. And you do all these things that are out of alignment. You take everything personal, like there's something wrong with you, and then you create these attachment energies to these people because you're trying to get this need met, you're trying to get this wound healed through them, and they would like give you a little bit, and as soon as you're done, they come back and give it to you again, and as soon as you're done, they come back and give it, you know, it's this constant cycle. Well, it's a mental manipulation too, because what they'll do is they'll do some things that seem to be really sweet or really kind, or like they care or they're sympathetic, but when you actually feel into it, you realize it's all bullshit. It's all very calculated. They literally do all this with intention. Like, it's all planned. As fucked up as that is, it's all planned. And they do that on purpose. And then so you're like holding on to the hope because of the things that they quote unquote gave you that they didn't really give you, right? And then there's the conflict of like, well, maybe this, well, maybe this, well, maybe they'll change, well, maybe they'll give it to me. And there's always that like holding out hope that maybe they'll go back to that energy. Maybe they'll, you know, give me that, what I need. And you chase it. You energetically chase it, right? So when you think about it and you think about the person, you actually can't stand that person. You actually don't like that person. The more you heal, the more you realize, I don't even like that person. Like, when I think about them, like, I actually don't like them at all. They're disgusting. But you still hold on to that little bit of hope that maybe they are good. Maybe there is something positive, because at one point they showed you that within you. So at one point they showed you this energy that you were good enough. If that's your core wound, let's just say that, because it's most people's. They showed you were good enough. They chose you. They did something. I was laying out, so that's why I'm in this. And I just felt compelled to do this. But at one point, what they did was they sparked so think about, I'm not enough. We're going to just talk about it like this. Again, you know, use it to your own situation. I feel not good enough at my core. They do something that activates that feeling, right? They do something where it's like they make you feel chosen or special over somebody else, like they chose you over somebody else, where they make you feel special in a way you've never felt special. They do something, what it does is it activates the core wound, and then it makes you feel, ooh, I am good enough, I am worthy, and then they take it from you, and then you chase that same feeling back. So what you're doing is you're chasing the feeling within yourself of being good enough. You're chasing that energy you felt about yourself in the beginning, and you attach it to, this person gave it to me. It's a person with them. It's an attachment with them. They didn't give it to you. They just activated it in you for you to feel it about you. It was never anything to do with them at all. They did that so they could fuck with you and manipulate you. That's it. That's like the only reason they did that. And that's why it makes you mentally go crazy, because you're sitting there and you're like holding on to, oh, but they did this. And again, we focus on the positive. So maybe they are this way, but they're not that way. And you know that, which is why you don't even like them. You're just attaching to that good feeling that you got because they helped you to see that good within you, that you are enough. And you're chasing that. So as you do your healing and as you work on feeling good enough, now all of the trauma comes up, because now that you're able to see things at a different level, now you're able to see the reality of how you lie to yourself. Now you're able to see how you chase. Now you're able to see how you did things that weren't good for you. Now you're able to see things because you've grown and you've healed. So now you're at a level that you can actually see reality for what it is. Now you can see their behavior for them being pieces of shit as them being pieces of shit. And you can go, this actually had nothing to do with me being good enough. Look at how this person acted. This is on them acting like this. That has nothing to do with my worth or my value or being good enough. And that's how it's unfolding. But there's still that little bit there because you just haven't cleared all of it yet. And I keep getting the same sense for a lot of people who are in this, who are ending these cycles as these things are coming up. You're getting more and more clarity, but there's still something holding you to that person. But it's really not that person. It's really with you. They're just mirroring that for you. And then as soon as you get the clarity, which, like I said, it feels like for most people is going to be within a few weeks, you're still going to keep getting the clarity, but the final clarity and the final straw and the final doneness is going to be within a few weeks. And you're going to almost feel this release. So as you're going through this right now, you might be feeling temporary bits of relief and releasing as you're uncovering stuff. Because basically what's happening is at your core, you are enough, right? But we shrunk it to nothing. We shrunk it to nothing. So as you're releasing all these things that people have said to you and all these things that you've kind of closed your light, think about I'm not enough as a light. you've kind of just shoveled dirt on it over and over and over, where it's just this small little hole. As you keep pulling the dirt, which is all the trauma and conditioning and shit that people said to you, and you're seeing it for reality of what it is, you're uncovering all that dirt, your light's shining brighter. It's just, you haven't uncovered all the dirt yet, basically, is what's going on. So don't try to worry about it. Don't get mad at yourself for still holding on to hope. Don't do any of that. Just sit with your feelings. What am I feeling and why? What am I feeling and why? That's all. That's it. What am I feeling and why am I feeling this way? And that's how you're going to keep working through it and pulling the dirt up. It's just as simple as that. Going into your emotions and your feelings and understanding them, and then looking at reality for the way it is. And I'm going to say this to somebody because I know you need to hear this. They never loved you, and you know that. And sometimes it's hard for us to accept that, because it might be our parent that we wanted to love us. It could be a sibling, it could be an ex, it could be all of them. We wanted them to love us, and they just didn't. And we maybe lied to ourselves and told ourselves that because once in a while they did those nice things, or they gave us the good feeling, but really they didn't give us the good feeling. We just associated it to them. That we want to believe that they loved us. We want to believe those things because we think we need their love to be worthy enough. But again, as we're uncovering all this, we realize it's already been all along. We already are worthy of love. We've always been worthy of love. We've just kind of hidden that from ourselves. Just because we threw dirt on it doesn't change the fact that the light's still there. We just hid it below the surface. I kind of love the analogy that they gave me with that. So yeah, sometimes it's just fact they didn't love you. They never did. It was all planned. It was all calculated. And I will tell you, I've had this kind of come up for me with 2 different people this week. And I go, when it came up, the first person, which was my ex-husband, I'll just say that, he pulled some shady ass shit. And it came up and I was like, why the fuck would he do that? After a little while, I got the message that he never loved you. And it like literally freed me. I know that sounds so weird. It literally freed me because I was going through this mental conflict of, if somebody loves you, how can they do this? Right? We like to ask ourselves questions because we don't understand. We can't understand that. If somebody loves me, how can I do this? And as soon as I heard that he never loved you and I realized how calculated he was, I go, oh, well, goddamn. Okay. Makes sense. And then I go, damn. Okay. And it really just all started unraveling. And I just felt so free. It was like this chain that had been holding me back. And I just saw him for the person he actually was. That's what it was. That's what it did. It freed me because it made me see him exactly who he was. So him, like that cord with him is like completely gone. To the point where I'm like, I don't even want to talk about him ever again. I don't want to talk about the trauma I went through with him. If I need to help other people, maybe, but like, I don't even want to think about him or talk about him ever again because he means literally nothing. Like that's actually what that did. The one I'm still working on is my dad. Still like holding out, like, I'll just say it so you guys can understand. So I'm starting to realize more and more and more he's a narcissist, and I'm starting to see things more clearly and his intention with things and actually seeing reality for what it was that I wasn't really seeing, right? And realizing I don't even want him in my life. I haven't actually for years, and I was still trying to. And as I was working through it today, I was just like, there's still that little piece of me that feels like maybe he'll change, maybe he'll show up, maybe he'll do these things. And I go, but I don't even want him to because I just don't even care anymore. And it's like, but there's still that inner child that has that little piece because there's something that I haven't healed yet. There's some little piece that has not clicked for me, has not accepted, that I have not healed yet. And that's kind of what I'm talking about, where we logically know we don't want this person. We don't like this person. We don't want them in our lives, but there's still something that's kind of holding you there. So that's the part that I'm talking about, that as you're uncovering stuff, you're going to gain more truth and clarity and acceptance. And it might be a literal situation that kind of helps you close it, or it might just be like an acknowledgement and an understanding and a knowing that happens. And then you just are done and you can just release yourself, and it will feel so liberating and free, like, and just so good. And you're just going to feel like all this weight that you've had on you didn't even know you had is gone. So I hope anybody who is going through this, like, this message helped you, and just, like I said, work through your emotions. Just go back to, how am I feeling? Why am I feeling like this? And just keep like unshoveling that dirt. So hope you guys all have an awesome day.